Ben is a marvelous actor. In Chinese Bookie, which many people feel as you do, that it's a gangster genre, I don't really feel it is.
I don't think it's a gangster film, but I think it starts. I mean, it's a very Cassavetes film at the end, but at the end, I mean, when it is actually seen on the screen,
yeah.
I call the end, not the end of the film. But what I mean is that obviously you were. I mean, when you see Faces of Husbands, you know, they don't refer to any specific genre. But here, obviously, a man who is a gambler, who has a striptease, place, and who loses money, gets into the mafia, who ask him to kill somebody, and so on. It's it's plot that we have seen. But this is not the criticism, but it's something that we have seen as a starting point. Whereas the other films that you did were. So I think it belongs to the genre in terms of reference. Obviously.
I'm going to cry because that isn't really. Obviously, that is true. Obviously, what you're saying is true. And
it's not what is on the screen. It's not what is on the screen.
My motivation for doing the picture was, and this isn't a justification, I would drive on Sunset Boulevard every day to go to work. And along the way, I would see all these strip joints along Sunset Boulevard. And I was wondering, as I went by and looked, you can't help but looking at these pictures, more, come and get it, whatever those expressions are. I was wondering what kind of a person would own a place where groups of people would sit silently, sit there and look at flesh, and what kind of people would perform, and why did they perform in our society? What is this need to be such exhibitionists in a certain area, in a sexual area? And so I went in and I stopped one afternoon on the way back, and I talked to one of these men. And he took me out and he showed me his car, and he told me how many gangsters come into his place. But not all the time, but he told me specifically, according to their importance, who had been in and who knew him. And he also told me that he did his own acts. He structured them, he wrote them, he had the finest girls, the most beautiful girls, and he showed me what he had built in terms of his stage, his sound system, everything. He took enormous pride in this. And I walked in there and I saw a world which was part of an American world, but maybe part of the whole world, because they have strip places everywhere. And I kind of liked that man. And he was a very conventional man. He wore a tie, special shirts made very much like gangster shirts, shoes absolutely done right. When he went out, he wore a hat, looked like Humphrey Bogart. Special cigarette case, holders, fantastic. The glasses were not plastic. Everything in the place was more ornate than most restaurants or most cafes would be. So I went and we finished Woman Under the Influence, and I was going mad in distribution. Distributing the film, talking to theater owners and everything all day long, and it was a business life, and I got panicked. And I thought, what could I do that would be easy to get on, easy to do within the area of where we are now? And I got everyone together, all the people. I said, well, anyone like to make a movie? We could start shooting in 2 weeks. And they said, well, what are we going to shoot? And I said, well, I'll write something as we go. We got all the people together, and I started writing this script about how these gangsters want more, and they want more, and they want more. They don't even know what they want. And that the people within that society, which I liken really to all of American life, in that no one knows what they're working for. They only know they want to do it in the right way and be good at what they're doing. But they are mindless because there is nothing to think about, because the object is making money and doing it with style. And so Chinese Bookie was, to me, not a gangster film so much as the ethic, the work ethic in our country being so that you are put in a position of doing your work without any basis of any individuality in your own life, so that you have to apply yourself to what other people want. And a nightclub owner would apply himself to what other people want. Theater people do it, television people do it, everybody in our world, people that sell gas or they...
You only exist for others.
Yes, and there's nothing of yourself. So the society we live in is an anti-art society in that it is conforming to one point of view. And that point of view is what must be done in the manner that it must be done. So this man, when he loses $25,000 in a cheap set-up card game, he thanks everyone because he doesn't want to be the kind of person that would exhibit the wrong kind of emotions. And he shakes their hands. And he says goodbye, and it's all done extremely formally. But it could have been a comedy. That situation to me is so true that it could have been a comedy had Ben gone over and said, thank you very much in a certain way and done it broader. You know, the whole picture would have taken on, he would have become an anti-hero then, which in that sense would have been a hero. But instead he played it with the talent that he has as a good actor, trying to understand that situation. And many people would not want to see innocence being crushed and somebody that's trying in their life being destroyed. In my opinion, and the opinion of Ben and everyone else who worked within the framework of that picture, it's a very necessary picture for people to see, because it shows you that even if you do the right thing, you may not be starting out in a direction that has any validity. You know, I do, you know, it's like saying I will kill people, but I will kill people very nicely. And then you're upset because somebody punishes you for killing them nicely, and I think that that's our age today. It's very pertinent to what is going on, particularly with young people. They are idealistic in their approach to their own violence and their own peculiar withdrawals, and they use life as its example, and life is not particularly a good example as politically or economically is not a good example of how to live your life, in my opinion. Anyway.
No, but I mean, I don't want you to misunderstand me. I didn't mean that the film, as I see it, is a gangster film. I mean, I agree. I mean, what you said about the character and the poetry of the film and the night atmosphere and the loneliness and so on is obviously what is important in the film. It's not the plot. But what I was saying is that you were using the plot and the devices of the gangster film starting, you know, in the same way as in Opening Night you use the relationship of the theater and the film, which has been done also many times. The result is completely yours, and it has nothing to do with the starting point. But still,
I think I'm a little sensitive about that.
No, but it's a starting point, whereas the starting point in your other films was no reference. I don't say it against or for. It's just, you know.
Well, in America, you see, we opened the picture in Los Angeles and New York, and the people flocked to go to see the film. You know, and they.
Which one?
The Chinese Bookie.
Chinese Bookie.
And they really went in en masse, and we got absolutely killed by the critics. You know, killed.
No, what you said about the striptease owner, joint owner, doing what people expect him to do and so on, living for others. That's raises the question of your position in Hollywood, because I've as a filmmaker, because I find between you and me, I mean, I even wrote it in Herald Tribune. I had an interview with Mary Bloom 2 weeks ago. I said that about new American films in the last 3 or 4 years. I find that the movies tend to be very impersonal. I mean, which I never felt as much about Hollywood. I mean, I thought in the early 70s with people like Altman, like Boorman, like Schatzberg, like Bob Rafelson, not to speak of you, of course, but they were really independent artists who were really putting their personal problems, their feelings on the screen, in whatever way. But I found in the recent films kind of technical achievements and very little content. I mean, very little feeling. Do you feel this yourself as trying to create in this context?
And talking with other directors, their views all seem to be that we'll be creative within the advisability of the subjects given to us by the major companies or by the money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all know that the tax shelters make terrible movies,
Mm-hmm.
because their whole basis is the money,
mm-hmm.
absolutely as a device to get rid of or to take an advantage
mm-hmm.
through money. We also know that the major companies are going to make hundreds of millions of dollars with a movie, and they will not tolerate somebody departing and taking a gamble at that kind of money. So that experimentation,
Mm-hmm.
that the artist is paid for his skill, not for the mind or the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And within that, the Spielbergs and the Lucases and the other people find everybody, the Altmans, everybody begins to work in this paranoid atmosphere of trying to get in to their films, points, ideas, but it isn't the overall film.
Mm-hmm.
But the threat of never making another film unless we conform
Mm-hmm.
is terrible. And what has happened is the critics and the festivals have always been the only weapon
Mm-hmm.
of creative people.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only weapon for
Mm-hmm.
a young filmmaker coming up. He will never get to make a film if it isn't for the critic
Mm-hmm.
and for the festivals.
And even for older filmmakers like you, I mean, independent filmmakers, it's help.
Yes, and now I think that the best thing that a young filmmaker can do is to beat an older filmmaker and a more established filmmaker, such as myself.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to go into a festival and have, but I want it to be competitive because that's the only real opportunity for a young filmmaker is to win. I feel terrible because I'm in a position at 48 years old of being a revolutionary, and I don't feel very revolutionary. It's time for me almost to say, look, let me make my films the way I want to, and I don't care really about success or going anywhere or doing anything. I just want to, until I can't do it anymore, I want to just do what I do. And let the young people come and show me the way. To be in a position of having to constantly not fight a creative battle, but go out and fight a commercial battle is terrible. And every young filmmaker is a closet communist. They only come out when the money is there. You offer a young filmmaker a job with Universal Pictures and they will jump up and down and say, I made money. I get a job offered to me with those major companies and I feel depressed. And it's not that I don't want the money. I want the money. That's why I feel depressed that I can't take it. But if at 18 or 20 or 25, somebody is already saying, bail me out, save me, what chance do they have to make something of any kind of worth and value? I think that all of us are, in a sense, excited, like a monk in a monastery would be excited over life, over finding some point in life, and then add wings to the monk and allow him to take on these challenges and create a different world, to actually have the capacity to create that different world is a fantastic excitement. It's sexual almost. It's certainly a substitute for living, but it's better than living. And when people begin to say, okay, we can make money on that aspect because these people will work harder at what they're doing than anyone else in the world, and other people are interested in what they're doing, and they will pay, then we must protect, somebody must protect that and not make it just a whore's game. You know, and we can say it's not, but it is. It's for me and it's for everyone else. I'm not making myself alone.
Thank you.